And we're live, ladies and gentlemen, to I mean, this is going to be an insane stream to talk about. Alex, I don't understand what the frick is going on, but I guess we're going to talk about it because, I mean, I got word from multiple distributors. So this isn't just like some fluke. Like, this is coming from my top distributors as well as my lower end ones that, like, this is actually happening right now. But before we jump into it, as always, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, subscribe. Really helps the YouTube channel out. And as always, if you want to see more content of Alex's, link is down in the description below.
I mean, dude, if you want to talk about complete trust being lost in Pokemon as a form of investment, it's this. This reminds me of Roaring Skies and Primal Clash being reprinted really late in XY. I mean, to go back 4 and 6 years and reprint Evolving and Team Up and some of these other sets, it's getting wacky. I mean, there's so much that needs to be reprinted in Scarlet Violet. This is just off the hook. This is Rudy's Bathroom 2.0, man. I'm literally in the process of packing all of my stuff up and throwing it in a bathroom. I'm forgetting about it. I'm not buying more. I don't know what to do.
Well, I think the weirdest part about all of this is, like, not only are we going far back to like the Sun and Moon era, but you would assume that they would have mentioned something as well about like reprints happening for anything within the current era. So I don't know. It just feels, I don't know. It just kind of changed the way we look at the landscape of what Pokemon is going to reprint, I guess.
And what is this? Is this like everything? Is it like booster boxes? How much? Like, is it a lot?
So like for my main distributor, like my top distributor, we got like 13 to 15 cases of Evolving and 13 to 15 cases of Team Up. So it's not like a massive reprint in the way in which like it's going to cause things to go to like, I mean, it's hard to put into perspective, right? Because this is the first time we've had a reprint where a box is multi-thousands of dollars. So I have absolutely no clue how it's going to affect the price. I mean, obviously things are going to go down, but I just have no clue. I'm still waiting to hear from some of my other distributors how many we're getting. One of my smaller ones, I know we're getting 2 to 3 cases of each. So, I mean, I'm assuming we'll probably get right around 25 cases of each. So, I don't know. It's gonna affect the market. I mean, prices will correct on both these items.
Yeah, and I mean, I got, obviously my sources at Pokemon that I email back and forth. That, I mean, that they couldn't really give me much. They just told me it was coming. Everyone's getting varied amounts, but yeah, it's happening.
It's happening. It's so happening, guys.
Dude, this is guys, this is seriously the Pokemon hobby right now.
This is
like
real.
you have these people getting on their social media accounts, typing up these ridiculous reprint confirmed by distro, confirmed by Pokemon, confirmed by whatever thing they made up. And then enough people see it and repeat it. And people start believing this bullshit. This is life now in 2025 on Pokemon.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Eli, what do you have? 6? Eli has 6 different distributors. Do you have anything at all confirmed right now coming in forms of reprints?
No.
0.
Eli,
how much money do you think you spend a year on products? What, like 10?
10? I just saw my reports yesterday. We're on track to do 9.5 million for the year.
9.5 million, guys. I'd be willing to bet all of these so-called experts and accounts you listen to don't even do a fraction of that. Eli has some of the largest distro accounts with some of his distributors. Hasn't heard anything from any of the high ups, from any of the secret information. Stop believing you see how stupid this is? Guys, what if me and Eli were to like rally anyone else we know in the hobby and have everyone we know in content creation all come out and say the same stuff? Do you actually know people would go out and probably sell their Team Up and Evolving Skies boxes based on the information? That's how stupid people are in this hobby. Don't be a Timmy. Please don't be a Timmy.
No, it's just crazy to me. I mean, over the weekend, I went through because I've had a couple of people message me about it, and I'm just like, where's this coming from? And people were linking videos of people like, I mean, your best friend, Pokey Plumber, was making a video about it. And I was just like, okay, where are these sources coming from that like people are saying? Because no one's like saying anything. I always will say my sources, which typically is my distributors. Like most of the time, 90% of the time, my sources are my distributors. The other 10% of the time are people that I trust really close in the hobby that happen to just get information sometimes faster than me. And most of the time, it's usually from their distributor. So unless I start hearing
there's a few
people
things.
say,
Like, one, no one can ever provide sources, and two, a lot of the people and these like sites or groups that have put out this info like this before have been wrong before. People forget they were wrong. They forget that like more than half the stuff they said was getting reprinted didn't. Then they believe them hook, line, and sinker again, and then they again the next time, and it's just like, when does it end? When do people finally get wise to the fact that it's like, it's almost it's just like I can throw out 5-10 different names of sets, and guess what? Because obviously things do get reprints and restocks, I'm probably going to be right on a portion of them, and then I can come out and be like, I told you it was coming, and then no one questions like, well, wait a second, what about the other 5 sets you said were getting reprinted? You got lucky with one, but realistically you didn't have any info. You're just throwing things out to sound like you're an expert, you have insider info to get people like hope or whatever it is. There's no info out there, guys.
yeah, like I said, I want to start hearing what people are using for their sources in confirmation of this, because I've
Trust
heard
me,
nothing.
bro. That's the source.
Yeah, just trust me, dude.
It's
So,
trust me, bro.
I mean, yeah, I just don't understand what we're talking about here. I don't even know what started this. I mean, who knows, right? Maybe because here's a good example, right? Lost Origin Silver Tempest. I didn't have access to distribution at the time for GTS. We didn't have them as an account. And GTS was the first to break that we were getting Lost Origin Silver Tempest reprints. And so I talked to my reps about it at all the distros we had at the time, which I think was only 3, and none of them could confirm it. And then about a couple weeks later, they eventually confirmed the fact. But the thing is, I'm at the point now where I have every distro. So it's no longer a question of like, okay, which distro is going to get the news first. It's like, no, I have every single distro I can reach out to, and I've heard nothing from any of them. So I don't know.
I think it's just the classic. I think it's just the classic, somebody wants to try and manipulate the market to where they can like get a bigger supply, and then content creators want to make videos and want something to talk about, so they pick it up. And no one ever traces the source back. I mean, some of the people I've literally reached out to that like posted things or said stuff about it, and I said, can you provide me any source other than another person that is actually someone at Pokemon or someone at a distributor? No one's been able to do it. I've either got ghosted or like they couldn't come up with anything. I heard it from this guy, I heard it from that guy. Well, then I'll try to like find. No one's got any real source. I've tried to like trace it back to the kind of like the first person. I can't do it. So I don't know, man. I try to provide just factual information. You do the same thing. Maybe we get some reprints of some of these sets they're talking about. Maybe we don't. I mean, I think everyone knows there's going to be Black Friday deals. There's going to be holiday prints and restocks and stuff. But like the fact that people put distributor confirmed or Pokemon confirmed, it's nonsense.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to me that like, I mean, is it crazy though that people are putting this without actually saying anything part and parcel with their sources? Like, I feel like people at this point, it's like a game of telephone where people will put it up there and they'll say, hey, because we've got confirmation because XYZ sources have said it, but then XYZ sources heard from ABC sources, and then it just keeps going on where people are confirming people that confirmed from other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it just comes to a point where, yeah, it just comes to a point now where it's like, people are sourcing from other people that never had sources to begin with. And it just keeps going through an endless chain. So it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, I have one of the rumors that, about the PSA and GameStop buying your slabs at like 90 to 95%. I haven't got a source actually like at GameStop or PSA, but I have checked with enough people that vend or at a lot of like these events and collecticons and card shows. And every one of them has told me the same story that like, yes, GameStop and PSA reps are there. They're walking around where they are buying slabs from people at 90 to 95%. So that apparently is real. From everyone I've talked to, again, it's still other people, so I can't like say 100%, but I trust the people that I've asked about it. And yeah, apparently I guess they just need the slabs for, I guess, those GameStop
The
whatever they
power
call
pack
them.
things.
Yeah, the power packs. I don't know what PSA is buying somebody for. Maybe they can just make money on selling through eBay. But yeah, that seems to be a real thing, that they are offering 90-95% on slabs.
Well, we actually just got a submission from PSA,
Yeah.
and I got a thing on my account when I got my grades available. It said, you have 24 hours to accept. We will pay you market price on all of your cards that you choose that you want us to buy from you. And it was like telling me that. And when I clicked on it, some of the cards were actually market price, but a lot of them were being valued at significantly lower than what market price actually was. So it is kind of interesting to see, because I can't speak to the 90 to 95%, but for me, it's like, okay, well, if market's 100 and they're valuing you at 80, are you really getting 90 to 95? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are they going off of here? Because at least when I got that offer of market price, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then I was like, okay, well, what? That's not what market price is.
My last order I got back was definitely crazy offers. I'll admit, like, firsthand. I mean, I remember my Umbreon EX from Prismatic, they were offering like $3,700 for, which I believe is about 90% of market. So it does seem like they are, depending on what card it is, I guess, and price point, it does seem like they are actually offering some pretty good prices. But like, even on top of the PSA offering it on the cards you just graded, apparently they're out in the wild at card shows trying to take in slabs too. So I don't know what they're all amassing all these slabs for, if it's all just things like that. But it's apparently a real thing. So
Yeah, I think it's on a card by card basis for sure.
yeah.
So,
But no, man, it's just like, it's such a hard topic talking about the rumors, because I get, like, I always try to see things from everyone's point of view, right? To get like an accurate kind of depiction of it. And I 100% get it, right? Like, oh, somebody who actively invests in the market, who has, obviously I want the market to go higher, so my investments rise, I have a vested interest, all those things, right? I understand if I say anything like, counter to that, or I go against anything counter to that, it's seen as like, oh yeah, Alex is just trying to, pump his bags and all that. And so I get people like not listening or not wanting to believe it. But guys, like, look, I'll be the first person. Eli will be the first. Eli doesn't care. Like, he'll be the first person to tell you when a reprint's announced, how much he's getting, all those things. Is a big reprint, small reprint. The truth is, there's just nothing come. There's nothing confirmed by distributors or Pokemon. So other than that, maybe someone out there is getting some insider info from some random person at Pokemon or high up a distributor. Maybe. But officially, there's nothing announced. I just want to make that clear.
I mean, for me personally, I prefer reprints. Like,
there you go.
Reprints are a better opportunity for me to double down on my investments. Like, if a massive reprint, I made so much money off of the Lost Origin Silver Tempest reprint. Why wouldn't I want another reprint to do the exact same thing over again?
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. Yeah, it's cool to have your bags go up, but you know what's even better? Having a bigger bag. But you can't do that if there's not enough product to go around.
Exactly. 100%, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned this last time too, like, the only information that I've gotten in terms of quote unquote reprints, which it's not a reprint, it's like a small resupply, was there was some Paldean Fates tech stickers and prismatic booster bundles, but I'm talking, I got a case. So it's like I got a case of the booster bundles from our biggest distro, and I got 2 cases of the tech stickers. So it's like, it's not happening.
Yeah, I think that needs to be mentioned more too. It's like, again, I'm all for everyone getting their hands on packs, but it's just like the false hope of these like narratives that are thrown. It's just like, you could throw out Paldean Fates reprint coming. It's like one little product that nobody really wants, and you're not getting them enough to really make a difference. And so realistically, it's not going to get the packs in many more people's hands. It's probably not going to affect the market much because there's not enough of it. But you can't say that online, or you immediately get demonized as like, oh, you're just an evil scalper, flipper, investor. You just want everything to be expensive and kids not to have cards. It's just like, no, dude, look, I'm all for it. Right. I said, I'm sure there'll be great deals coming Black Friday, Christmas. I'm sure we'll see prices drop on stuff. I'm just saying, don't buy into the nonsense. Wait for the real news to actually make decisions.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as like, the timing of the reprint, quote unquote, rumors and stuff, like, I reached out to my distros today, and I asked them just point blank, like, hey, any news on reprints, let alone like booster box reprints? And both distros were like, yeah, they're gonna happen probably at some point, but like I haven't heard any word on it. So it's like they're just trying to give hopium to people that they're gonna happen, but realistically, they have absolutely no idea. They're like, oh, based on the price of Destin, I don't see why the Pokemon Company wouldn't reprint it, but it's just like, okay, well, I agree with you on that, but also at the exact same time, do you have, news about it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like we think it's coming. All of us do, but there's just nothing here that's happened.
Well, let's talk about the Riftbound.
Oh boy.
I mean, dude, so another TCG, another popular IP, another run seemingly into infinity. I believe the boxes are now around the 230, 240 range before shipping and taxes. I mean, you can give your thoughts on that, but I want your thoughts, maybe even the chat's thoughts. How many TCGs can this market truly absorb and keep up with these prices? I mean, obviously, like One Piece seems to have taken that third spot almost at this point above Yu-Gi-Oh, but Yu-Gi-Oh is still a big thing. Lorcana, right? We got now Riftbound. You got Gundam TCG people are buying. I mean, it's just like, how many more TCGs can the market absorb and people continue to break out their wallets and pay these prices for?
It's a good question. I mean, I feel like we're just continuing the same trend we saw in 2021, where people look at like the main IPs and they say, man, they've gotten so expensive. How do I get in these other ones and potentially see an opportunity here? Because like that's exactly what happened with Lorcana, and that's exactly what happened with Flesh and Blood. Like Monarch booster boxes at one point were going for $1,000, and now they're going for less than 100. People were super speculative and investing in, and to be fair, a large part and parcel, Rudy was pumping the crap out of it. So, and Lorcana, I mean, I remember when Lorcana was first coming out and the original booster box, right, was being pushed. It was going for an insane amount. Also, I think it was over 400 a box. So people just are looking at other ways for them to make a quick buck or invest or whatever, or find a cheaper game that they can play or collect, because right now it's like it's expensive as booster boxes continue to climb, and it's no longer, I mean, at least before, like when you could buy booster boxes, you're buying booster boxes right around MSRP, and that was considered expensive, which MSRP at the time was 144. You're not getting anything under $200 now. So it's definitely feels very deja vu, to say the least. It feels like once again history is repeating itself.
I mean, I don't know about you because I know you have like certain deals in place, but I know like with my distributor, I know other people I've talked to with small accounts. Prices went up again on this next set. Like Fantasmal Flames is now up in the mid 100. Like it's between in the middle of 100 to 110. So like it's just creeping up slowly, like $1-2 every time. It looks like it's pushing to 110 a box now. And I think what people fail to realize is the old days when boxes were $100, $90. That was when distributors were selling boxes at like 85 and 90.
Yeah.
Things do correct. It's like I just don't know if they're ever going to correct anywhere near where they used to be because of just inflation.
Yeah, 100%. What did you pick up your Riftbounds at?
I just bought them today. So like our local shop had them for $200. But I mean, I'm using them to stream. Like I'm not like investing in them or anything. I just think at this point there's so many TCGs that like are fighting for attention and fighting for the dollars. And to be honest, other than Magic, Pokemon, it's hard to tell which ones are going to survive. If I had to guess, I'm going to say obviously One Piece seems to be one that's going to stick around. Yu-Gi-Oh is probably still always going to have a spot in players' hearts. But then, I mean, maybe Lorcana makes it, right? They got the backing of Disney, right? I mean, Riftbound, one of the largest, freaking PC games. It's hard to tell. Dude. It's really hard to tell like how all these TCGs are going to kind of form in the next 3 to 5 years and which ones are going to be around, which ones aren't. So I'm not really investing too much outside of Pokemon.
I'm seeing people message saying that for some reason the audio is lagging. I'm trying to listen to it on the back end. I'm hearing you choppy. See if I'm choppy in a second. Yeah, I don't know how we would fix that though, because that's not something that how would we, yeah, because I'm wired and all my internet seems to be running fine. Is it both of us that's choppy? Because then at that point it's the entire stream.
Yeah, it's strange because I'm wired too with AT&T fiber.
Yeah, it's choppy for both of us, people are saying. Yikes. All right. I don't know. Maybe I'll refresh the stream and see if that fixes it. I have absolutely no idea. Here, be right back.
Well, I'm still here. It's a YouTube issue.
Yeah, I just refreshed it. I have absolutely no idea if that's gonna fix it or not. So
YouTube has had some issues lately. I know that.
yeah, because I'm doing an internet speed
Still
test.
choppy with just Alex. Alex is still lagging.
Oh, you leave and rejoin, Alex.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just did a download speed test, and it says I'm at almost a full gig of downloads, so or upload or whatever. I always mix it up. No, download. I had it right. Yeah. I'm still choppy.
We've never had this issue before.
That sucks. No, we've never had a choppy issue before.
Damn.
It's bad. People are saying it's probably YouTube. Yikes. That's not good.
Maybe the cabal is after us because we were talking about their lack of reprints coming. They're trying to take us down for letting out the info. They're trying to take us down. Mason said it's sufferable. I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse.
It sounds. I'm watching it now. It sounds better on my end when I'm watching the actual.
Suffer through it. Just suffer through
so
it.
I think it's better, but I have absolutely no idea.
That's strange, man. They launched a cyber attack. Dude, Mason's a real one. It's worth tolerating to listen to you fellas. When we gonna have Mason on again, by the way, man? Mason, you gotta come on again, dude.
I don't know. Hopefully it gets better. We apologize, guys. It sounds like it's not better.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about like the oversaturation of TCGs right now? Like, do you think it's going to be a problem? Do you think summer is going to have to fail?
DMs are open. Yeah, I first and foremost, before I answer your question, I apologize for the lag. I don't know what I can do. I mean, I have absolutely no clue at this point what we kind of do to fix it. So,
and I want to point out this doesn't happen on my channel.
Oh my gosh, of course. Slide in, Eli. You know me, Mason. I'm always responding on Discord. DMs are open, I guess. His stream is as choppy as the market. Jeez Louise. But sorry, what was your question again? Something about the summer.
Do you think things are just going to become so oversaturated in the TCG space that either, you know, everything's just going to fall, or are some TCGs just going to have to fail, and the money will kind of consolidate back to the ones that make it, which will kind of buoy the market back up?
I mean, that makes the most sense to me. But also, one thing I will say for certain is One Piece has been crushing it.
Yeah.
But is that because the demand is so high, or is it because the supply is still an issue? You know what I mean? Because, like, at least with Flesh and Blood, the big thing that kind of crashed Monarch specifically was that they did a huge print of it to the point of where it just tanked everything. And to be fair, Lorcana, they've also addressed printing. So it just feels like with One Piece and some of the other like IPs, they just haven't had a ton that they've printed. So I'm of the belief personally that it just is going to come down to how they manage their printing of the product.
I mean, dude, I know everyone kind of like doesn't believe it, but maybe Bandai's just learned their lesson finally.
I mean, it's possible.
I mean, dude, they now have this and they have Gundam, which Gundam seems to be doing relatively well. Again,
yeah,
could it just be because Could it be because the whole TCG market is just doing so well and it's kind of like just catching some of that? Or is Bandai just finally figured out the right amount of supply to put onto the market to keep kind of everyone somewhat happy? Obviously, like the players and like casual side are never going to be happy unless things are, basically worthless. But they found some sort of like equilibrium, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me that they're just doing a better job, I guess, right now with the current demand. They're able to hone in on the fact that if they probably printed significantly more, then it's going to play a major factor of the play itself or the just overall hype for the sets that come out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that'll be kind of like a wait and see approach. But as with most speculative TCGs or other TCGs, I'm not interested in it. Like I stick to Pokemon primarily. Like I have a little bit of Magic, but not really though. Most of it's from the, commander deck or collector perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are like, always chasing the absolute most return they can possibly get, and they're like completely ruling out any level of risk. And if you completely take risk out of things, right, that's when you can catch, those crazy flyers. But like when people ask me stuff like, well, Alex, what do you think about Riftbound? What do you think about One Piece? What do you think about this? And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, all those could end up outperforming certain Pokemon boxes for sure. But at the end of the day, I feel much safer in Pokemon boxes. Like right now, with some of the drops in the market, seeing like what you can pick up, like Surging Sparks, what you can pick up Paradox Rift for, even like the Paldea downturn. I mean, there's boxes right now that are getting extremely cheap in Pokemon. Like if I'm looking at this market, I'm saying a brand new TCG with Riftbound, $230 a box, or Paradox Rift, $230 a box, that's going to be out of print in like 6 months. It's a no-brainer, Paradox Rift. Now, someone could come back at me in 6 months and say, Alex, Riftbound didn't get major reprints. It's $500 a box. Paradox is only $300. You're an idiot. Yeah, maybe. I still feel much safer though. I just think like people have thrown risk and caution out the window, just chasing exponential returns that they think are going to last forever. And I just think that's the wrong way to go about this if you want to be successful long term. But hey, could be wrong.
It's so funny.
It's Alex Budem.
I'm reading that. People are saying you're the one that's lagging right now. To be fair, you just did a lot of talking, so I wouldn't be surprised if I start lagging if I start talking as well. But yeah, no, I think that I mean, why would you invest in something that's much more speculative at the same price as something that's much safer and it's going to do well?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just Pokemon is the king. I don't understand what we're doing here. We're trying to get too cute with it, right? I think I've said this before. It's kind of like the people that invest in crypto and they feel like they missed the boat with Bitcoin, so they're gonna go get into some altcoin that they hope is gonna pump, and it's gonna be their opportunity to make you rich.
Yeah, or it's almost like when you look at Jim Cramer. Like I know he gets a lot of things wrong, but it's just like people will call in and they'll put him on the spot on like some random stock. And then he's supposed to give like some, take on that one stock right then and there for that person. And it's just like, I just feel like that's kind of like a lot what we do. People will ask questions about some random card or random set, random card game, and we're supposed to give like, some response. And of course you're going to be wrong giving responses like that. But then you look at like, our businesses, our actual, portfolio of products, how we've grown our net worth over the years. And it's just like, well, obviously we're doing something right. Like you can't argue success. And so you could listen to all the people and like cherry pick certain things you get wrong and be like, see, he said this, he said that, he's an idiot. And it's like, well, I mean, they're idiots, but look at what they've grown. So obviously they're doing something right. And yeah, what we're doing right is we're just making large scale bets on things that have worked 99% of the time, and we do it over long term. And yeah, if you ask us on any given day, this over that or that over this, I'm sure we'll get stuff wrong here and there. But again, getting stuff wrong in this hobby means, oh, I only 100% my money over I could have 200% my money. Oh, dang, I got it wrong.
It's just, I mean, I feel like we're always being a dead horse here. People are just greedy, man. People want their...
they're getting more greedy by the day.
Yeah, people want their make it rich quick, that's for sure.
I think there's gonna be a lot of shakeups. Like honestly, dude, like last thing we can talk about before if you want to take questions. I think there's gonna be a lot of shakeups just in the business side of this hobby. One is obviously this whole GameStop PSA thing where they're buying up all these slabs. Like that is going to force vendors, especially at card shows, on everyone to get much more competitive. It's probably going to kind of set more of floor prices because it's going to allow people to obviously, if there's offers in place, to be able to make money if the prices go anywhere at a margin where there's a margin in it. So that's going to shake things up. And I also think more and more TCGs that get released, like we just talked about, is going to widen the market a lot, which is going to force people to make a lot more choices with their money, which is probably going to make it a lot more of, I would say, a set pickers type game, because you're probably going to have a lot of money flood into like the really good stuff. And you're probably going to have, you're eventually going to see products that sit more. And that's why I think we will see an MSRP product in the future coming up soon, because when a lackluster product does eventually hit the market for any TCG, you're going to see people kind of shy away. They're going to say, oh, I'll just buy this other TCG or this other thing because it's hot right now. And so I just think a lot of stuff's going to keep getting shooken up in the next, I would say, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. I think let's before we start taking questions, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Mega right now. So prices were, it looks like, rebounding up to 290. Now they're back down at around 260. So it looks like it's playing this range where the price keeps going up and down. Like I said before, I still feel pretty confident that if it does go lower, 250 is probably where it kind of stalls out. It hasn't broke below that yet. I mean, that was kind of what our price prediction was over the past couple of weeks. Who knows? I could be wrong, but that's just kind of where my thoughts are. I don't know if you have a different stance than that at this point, Alex.
Yeah, I know. I see what you're saying. I mean, go further with it.
What do you mean?
I mean, hold on. During the market crash, why are bad stuff like Pokemon Go and Shrouded Fable not tanked? It's a good question.
Are you eating your Starburst, Alex? Is that what's going on right now?
Dude, I have to. I'm trying to keep my throat like somewhat so I don't cough the whole stream. I'm still getting over being sick, so my bad.
Bro, I do that without being sick, and it freaking sucks, dude. I need to start eating Starburst is what it sounds like.
I'm just trying to get something to coat my throat so I stop getting the tickles.
But what do you mean by go further?
Here, repeat what you said. Let me get a better response.
Okay, what I was basically saying is that taking a look at Mega ME1, last time we looked at it, it was around 285, pushing 290. Right now, it's back at around 260 again. Last time we talked about it, I had said that when the reprint was happening, based on the strength of the first wave, I felt like 250 was kind of going to be the floor. I still feel confident that that's the case. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean,
feels like it's ranging right now that's just what it looks like, at least.
I think so. Like we are seeing base set and Paradox. I think that's the only sets that have dropped below 250 a box. Journey's getting close to there, Stellar is a little close, but most every box other than those two are still more than 250. I find it hard to believe a set as strong as Mega with that box topper goes lower, man. So I'm still right there with you. Honestly, I think as the only thing that could possibly slow it down and get it down to that 250 range is when Fantasmal comes out, because we all know that once the new set's released, it does kind of slow down sales volume for the previous set for the time being. But in my opinion, again, just my opinion, Fantasmal is going to be huge. That Charizard is going to be huge, but because it is a smaller set, people could kind of run through that and kind of get their fill quicker than they did with Mega. And they could kind of revert back into opening more Mega again, pretty quickly after there, like 3-4 weeks after, which could kind of run a Mega again. So I agree, man. I think it's probably going to be the floor, 250, 260. And I could actually see it running up towards the end of the year back in like 270s, 280s, to be honest.
I mean, what are we, I guess, thinking Fantasmal, though? Like, because Fantasmal release comes out in a little under 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, what, next Monday will be, starting to sell, right?
Yeah. It'll start to hit some stores.
Dude, I just don't. I think it's probably going to be the same way. It's probably going to hold up in that probably around $300 box range until the second wave comes. When the second wave comes, it'll probably drop in, again, like 250 to 270 range.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, obviously it's too early to say anything, but if we look at the chart for the month of October, it was at 330. Lowest listed right now is for 306. So it's obviously gone down, but like that makes sense. I guess, do we think it's going to go down even further on the actual release, or will it hold strong at 300? Because for me, I would like to believe it's probably going to go down a little bit, but I have absolutely no clue how far.
I know we thought Mega Evolution was going to be like kind of the one that cracked. I think the set after Fantasmal could be it. I think it's going to be coming at a bad time. It's going to be coming early next year, right? It'll be before tax returns. It'll be after Christmas. And I mean, maybe it's a super strong set and it holds, but I could see that set actually getting closer to that 200 mark, something like that being a lot cheaper. We'll see what happens though. Like, I think we're getting closer. People are going to start being happier. You know what's funny too, though? If we ever do get down sometime next year to MSRP, people aren't going to be happy. Like, they say they're going to be happy. They're not going to be happy. They'll just want cheaper. They're always going to want it cheaper.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think with Fantasmal, just taking a look at the set overall, it's a small set. Like, realistically, history has kind of shown us that Pokemon doesn't typically do well with small sets. And although I think that people are going to look at it, and the Charizard, it's a cool art design, it'll do well. It's got a gold, it's got a regular one. But like, I don't know if you can agree with me or disagree with me on this, but like the last small set we had that a lot of people didn't like was Journey Together. The last small set before that a lot of people complained about was Stellar Crown.
Yep.
And so like, this is another set that people are looking at and they're saying, oh, it's small. There's not a ton of hits. I mean, if we want to go back even further, like we're talking going back further on some smaller sets that people are not fans about. A perfect mirror example is Obsidian Flames, right? That was the last one that I could think of that people were complaining about, because people weren't complaining about Paradox because it was a small set. They just didn't like a lot of the chases with it. But like, genuinely speaking, people looked and said,
Paradox
wow,
is a big set.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so like people will complain for different reasons, but I think if I can just kind of say the last 3 small sets were Journey, Obsidian, and Stellar. And of those 3, like people complained not because they didn't like the sets, but because the size in which you were able to get them. So I don't know. It feels like we're in just, it feels like, I mean, we've said this before, but it feels like we're just doing the same thing Pokemon has always done every single generation. And so it looks like Pokemon is looking at this as if it is a different generation, right? So it's not kind of the Heart Gold Soul Silver situation or scenario, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. But start of XY, you get Flash Fire. It's just a Charizard set. Start of Sun and Moon, Burning Shadows. Then obviously Darkness Ablaze, same exact thing, just a Charizard set. And I mean, I can just keep going on, right? Like, it's just Pokemon doing what they've done, which is just making a set very small with just a Charizard. So I don't know. I just feel like it's not that, I don't know.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's like, it's extremely hard for us to like, I don't know, make this as exciting as I guess sometimes we do. But, you know, I think people like, they're looking for like these quick moves or this entertainment, like, you know, especially with like the kind of rise of vending content, like with Coops and with like Garchomp and Bulbasaur and all these guys. Like, people, they want the action, they want the wheel and deal, they want the, you know, they want to see the cash flow, they want to see the product move, they want to see the gains. It's like, when it comes to like the investing stuff, there's not always there's not a move to make every week or every month, right? But more times than not, I would say most every time, if you just stop worrying about all the content and what everyone else is saying and all the stupid reprints and how the supply is and how good the set is, and you just let the product go, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. But the problem is, in say 3 years from now, when all this stuff is higher, right? Only like 10% of the audience will still be here. And it'll be like 90% new people. And they'll be saying all the same things that we're saying right now. All the same things people used to argue with me about 3 years ago. All the same things people said in Sun and Moon when XY ended. It's always going to be as different. It's going to be different this time. There's too much product. Things are too high. It's going to end eventually. It's all the same stuff. And so it's just like, I mean, I don't really know how else to tell it other than, yeah, I mean, look at Obsidian Flames. Everyone said it was a terrible set. It's too small. It's just a Charizard set. It's a $300 booster box. I mean, what more do you want?
Mason said, what makes the set better or worse when comparing the two? I will say this. Obviously, we can't do an exact one-to-one comparison with any of these. I mean, they're very similar because they're all Charizard sets that have a very thin list of actual pulls. But I will say my belief is that outside of the timing of the market, right? Because right now we're in a crazy time. I think that overall the set will probably be viewed as better compared to Obsidian, primarily because of scarcity of hits and then also the art design. Because a lot of people for the early stages of like the Scarlet Violet era complained about the crowns, like including myself. I think they look so stupid. And so because of that, it turned a lot of people off to the art designs. And so I think that you've just got a much better Charizard art design. Like it's just much cleaner. It's much cooler. Mega, obviously, people are a fan of. So megas are something that are popular. And then on top of that, too,
Hold on. We have to say that too. Anyone that's been here, I know some people in chat have been here this long, but going back to Sun and Moon, just getting out of XY era, dude, nobody liked megas. Dude, people did not like XY. People like the Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield era much more. It was just recently that all of a sudden everyone loves megas again.
I think the difference is that people, this is just my perspective. I think the mega era sucked, but I think it's one of the weakest eras. I think the difference is that people like megas. They just didn't like the art styles of the mega cards because it was the first generation where we didn't really have an innovation in art design. Because think about it, right? You had Black and White era, which introduced the full art, right? You had the era of Sun and Moon introduce the rainbow. But like realistically, what did XY introduce other than Mega Pokemon, right? Like Mega Pokemon, like Pokemon in terms of megas was introduced, but there wasn't a style of art design that was really that unique. I mean, I guess you could say like the latter half was like alternate art style cards, like you saw with Steam Siege and Fates Collide. But realistically, those were a part of sets that like no one cared about. And that's what kind of makes it difficult. If you look at the first half of sets, it was just full art cards, and people were like, all right, well, we got full art cards for all of Black and White era. Like, what's next? You know what I mean? I guess the Silver Dialga was cool, but they only did that once.
And that's what's so great about that set. Yeah. I mean, so kind of going back to Mason's question or comment about the Obsidian Flames. So I think that kind of goes back to like the XY era. It was like everything became worth a lot because it eventually got scarce enough. But the reason XY took so long to have value is because it was too easy. It was, I mean, you could pull an entire set out of one case, right? The hit rates were not hard enough in XY. And then when you got to, obviously each era got harder and harder, but Obsidian Flames Charizard, it's not that hard to hit. It's not that hard to pull rates in the early few Scarlet Violet sets. I think it's like 1 in 32 for an SIR. And then couple that with being very few SIRs, at least with Fantasmal, it's likely going to be similar to Mega, where it's going to be maybe like 2 SIRs per case. So it's going to be maybe 1 in like 100 packs, something crazy. And so you're going to have that going for it. It is definitely a superior art. I think most people would agree with that. And then also you have the gold rare, which is like a god tier rarity. If it's a 1 in 1,200 packs again, like Mega Evolutions was with Gardevoir and Lucario, you have the god tier rarity hit. So I think those two things are going to make it stronger than Obsidian. And the end, yeah, obviously like the size of the hobby, now the strength of the hobby, much more than it was when Obsidian came out. I think all those factors are going to really factor in and make it more valuable long term.
Someone mentioned break cards. I thought about bringing that up, but honestly, like break cards, I don't know. Did you like break cards, Alex?
No.
They were so dumb looking.
But I was never a fan of like any of the like the kind of like those second tier hit cards that everybody liked. Like I was never into the amazing rares.
They're kind of like prisms.
The prisms were okay.
Yeah.
Ace specs. Like it was cool to see the pink card or whatever, like the first set with temporal. Then it was like, okay, like I'm just not a fan of those like kind of second tier hits that like, I don't know, they just don't have value. They're too common.
Yeah, like if you go back to like sets like Primal Clash, Roaring Skies, Furious Fists, the hits were just full arts. And we're like, okay. You know what I mean? Like nothing crazy. The only set, which is my favorite set of the XY era, where I would say you had like, I guess, a more unique style of pulls was Ancient Origins. You had the shiny full art variations of Primal, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza. Like that, I guess, was somewhat different because it was their shiny variations. But even then, obviously, you could make an argument and say everything after that was just full arts, right? So, but yeah, I mean, Evolutions did good because it was completely nostalgia based, but nothing was innovative really within that era. Nothing felt like fresh. Like Rainbows, we can sit back and say Rainbows suck now, but like Rainbows were sick at the time when they were introduced. Like chasing a rainbow card was such a cool experience. And then, of course, once you got to the shiny set, like Hidden Fates, it was a cool experience, right? So it's like, how do I want to articulate this, right? The rarities always are shifting, right? Black and White introduced full arts, Sun and Moon introduced rainbows, and then eventually the alternate arts on the back half with the tag team. And then obviously Sword and Shield had all of them, but you viewed it differently, right? Like full art was a big chase for Black and White. Full art is super easy to get in Sword and Shield and Scarlet Violet, right?
Yeah.
Like no one cares about full arts in the same way because the next best thing is now SIRs, right? So rarities are constantly changing. The artist styles themselves are not as, cool anymore because they've, been around forever and there's always going to be a next best thing.
Which is always like my kind of like biggest like I would say worry about investing in singles or slabs is that, the desirability of cards are always changing. Like the reality is, it's easy to look back and say, Alex, if you would have bought X, Y, and Z card, you would have exponentially beat the sealed gains. It's like the problem is if you would have bought those cards back in Sun and Moon, you would likely have a lot of the rainbows. You wouldn't have the let's say, what was it for Cosmic Eclipse? It would have been like the Charizard Breaksin. You would have had that as a rainbow. You would not have had the Arceus Alga Palkia. You wouldn't have had the Ends Reshiram. You wouldn't have had those cards. You would have had the rainbow. You would have had the Rainbow Mewtwo in Unified Minds. You wouldn't have had the Misty's Favor. Like, so it's like, it always changes on what cards are valuable. And so it's just like, yeah, if you hit the right card, but that's kind of like hitting like a number in roulette, right? Instead of just betting on black or red, which is like a sealed product, right? You have a much better, and way better than that, I should say, because it's all sealed product goes up over time, or at least always has. So it's like the singles game, if you can do well and get lucky with it or choose right, you are going to exponentially beat anyone else's gains. But the problem is it's so fickle, man. It depends on what the overall market agrees upon they like at that specific time or over time.
Yeah.
And it keeps changing, right? It's always changing.
Yeah, 1000%. I just realized we went on a whole thing with Fantasmal. We should probably start taking questions here.
Yeah, go for it.
But yeah, no, I think Fantasmal is going to be. I think Fantasmal will be huge to see where people are feeling in terms of the set, because right now, obviously, there's a lot of scarcity that's playing a factor on top of the demand. But if you kind of start to see some weakness, I think Alex has a good point here that you could start to see cracks show, and then they might start to settle in within the next set or two. But as mentioned, please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe really helps the channel. And then if you have a question, in all caps, say question followed up by what your question is. Also, how are we doing on the lag? Has anyone got an update for us on that? Is that still going on, or has that gotten better? I'm looking.
Well, they're suffering through it, as Mason would say.
Suffering through it. Yeah, let me know what people say. All right, I'll take the first question. Do you think Pokemon is going to try to skip distributors with DR booster boxes and just release them on PC and in vending machines? Theory stemming from behavior with prismatic ETBs.
I mean, they definitely could. They've already put like a restock out recently. I will say one thing, and everyone hates this. And look, you don't have to agree with the things the market does, but you at least need to be aware of it. If they do that, the price of sealed cases of Destined Rivals are going to go through the roof. Like you're going to see huge premiums put on cases, and people are going to say, Alex, it doesn't make sense. It's just a brown piece of cardboard with stop tape wrapped around them. That's fine. But people on the market are going to pay a sizable premium if they don't send an actual restock or reprint of booster boxes through distributors with cases, and they're all sent out with single boxes at other areas. So it could happen, but just to understand what the effect that will have on the market. So cases may be a good pickup then. I don't know.
Well, I don't understand he says theory stemming from the behavior with the prismatic ETBs, but they've already done a reprint that hit distribution with prismatic ETBs. So
Eli, I'll get you up to speed with the way, I know you're out of like the YouTube community these days.
My bad.
If a price point does not drop to where people think it should, then it's almost as if the reprint never happened.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
All right. Good.
Yeah, my bad.
Now you're caught up.
Now I'm caught up.
So basically, if ETBs come from like 150 down to like 95, 100, that technically wasn't even considered a reprint because it didn't hit MSRP.
Checks out. I mean, it's kind of like 151. We had reprints for the ETBs and the ultra premium collections, and then shortly after that, we saw those products hit Costco and other big box retailers.
Yeah.
So it just feels like Pokemon is just continuing to do what they've always done, right? The big thing is with DR, right? We are starting to see that be listed on Pokemon Center, but I think what's difficult to say is this is kind of like a weird part in time where we're starting to see booster boxes at like, here's a good one. Have you seen that like GameStop is selling booster boxes?
Yeah, and they're selling them for what, $240, I believe?
Yes, that's what I saw as well.
Yeah.
So it's weird because we're at a point where we've seen some stores actually sell booster boxes that historically haven't. So it's possible. I have no clue what that's going to look like. I doubt you're going to go into a Costco and see booster boxes. That I'd be surprised about.
Well, one thing we can say is, if people had any disbelief that Pokemon just, was purposely making the market scarce and they actually could catch up, dude, they didn't even print a Halloween set this year. There was no Trick or Trade 2025 packs.
Dude, I didn't even think about that.
So they just completely said, we don't even have time to print that. We got to keep running anything we can that is actually going to bring these prices down. So that should be another data point to let you guys know. It's not this big, scheme by Pokemon to keep prices high. Like, dude, they're trying to print and they keep putting out reprints. It's just when the reprints don't affect the price point the way the market or the social media sphere believes it should, they write it off as if it didn't happen and that Pokemon needs to print more. It's like, dude, if you would have printed the amount of product that Prismatic has got printed at this point, if you would have done that in Sword and Shield, you would have seen $70 boxes. You would have seen $25 ETBs.
Do you think people though are also not factoring in that possibly Pokemon recognizes certain things are just not selling?
It's possible.
Because think of build and battle stadiums.
Yeah.
Like when was the last time? I mean, maybe I'm tripping and we've been getting battle stadiums, but when was the last time we got a build and battle stadium?
Well, I don't get anything anymore, so.
Fair.
Maybe you need to ask like somebody who actually gets product.
Yeah. I mean, the last build and battle stadium was a while ago, man. Like I feel like Pokemon's switching up their product. I mean, battle academies, dude. Like Pokemon, I feel like at this point is starting to like recognize what the market likes, but it takes time before it actually can do that. To be fair though, they're pushing trainer toolkits. Like they're going to come up with new trainer toolkits.
Very strange.
Yeah. So I feel like the reason why, this is just my belief though, is that most of the times trainer toolkits, you might not like them. Most investors don't, but they're actually pretty good because they usually come with some pretty competitive cards inside and the bulk's pretty solid. So I think that is a little bit different of an item where like battle academies, it's a complete brick. Build and battle stadiums, you're paying a way higher price for what you're getting out of it. And a lot of times like the promos, sometimes they can be worth it, but most of the time they're not. Whereas like trainer toolkits, you're getting your 4 packs. A lot of times they're solid packs. And then on top of that, you're also getting some really competitive cards on top of some nice promos that also are worth value. I mean, I remember the ones they made for, I think it was 2023. They had the Arceus, which at the time, like the V was going for $4 and the VMAX was going for like $8, and you got, I think, 2 of each, and it paid for itself. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone's confirming in the chat that they did discontinue them back at Paradox Rift.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's been a while.
It is funny how like they are switching their product lines, but what I think is funny is things like that Gengar battle deck that came out. It's really funny because the reason it was so valuable is because the cards inside, obviously it has no packs, is because the cards inside were valuable, right? So everyone was buying them up like left and right. But what's funny is because it has all those valuable cards, it flooded the market with all those playable cards, which tanked the price of all the playable cards, making the battle decks not as valuable as they were. And so it's like, I wonder if people understand they're just getting absolutely bamboozled with that kind of play. Or again, if it's a lot of players just buying it, that makes sense. But I think a lot of people were trying to like make plays on that. And I think it's probably going to tank really, really quick because of all the cards coming down inside.
Dude, I have some old like battle decks that like we purchased because it was part of like distro bundles.
Yeah.
And we just held on to them. And I'm just like, bro, I'm looking at prices and they haven't done anything.
Well, no, because I mean, playable cards are, once they're not playable anymore, they're just
right. Exactly.
worthless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't one of these things where I was holding on to them from an investment, right? I bought them because it was part of a bundle, but I just so happened to set them off to the side, forgot about them, and then was like, oh, I remember I bought these a while ago. What are they worth? And then I looked and I was like, they've done nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right. Yeah, let's go on to the next question. Shout out to $5 sub or $5 donation from Republic Bricks. Thank you so much. What happened to everyone buying as soon as the dip happens? People are so predictable.
Gonna back up the truck, baby. Happens every time, dude. This literally happens every single time. And you know, everybody wants to buy when Lost Origin is 900, but everybody wants to sell when it's 700.
It's history repeating itself.
And then you know what's going to happen? Those same people are going to be complaining in the future that they don't have the stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I mean, I'm welcoming MSRP, dude, because then you can point at every single person right in their face and say, you could have bought this too, and you didn't.
Bought my kid booster box cases to rip some because it was Monday afternoon, but he said, Dad, haven't you heard this is all worthless trash now? Please advise.
Damn, you have a smart kid. That's my only thing comes to mind.
Oh my gosh.
Now, if he would have said, we need to keep this sealed and put it away for you.
Oh, a tear would have shed.
Yeah.
For sure. That would have been oh man. I can only be so lucky.
This is all worthless trash.
That's hilarious.
Honestly, dude, I think some of the people in this hobby that are actually adults have attention spans that are that short. I think they probably watched 2 or 3 YouTubers making market crash videos and they actually believe it. Like they're already out.
Yeah. People don't really do their own research. Not a fan of slabs, but would it be smart to gamble and send in some duplicate triplicates to sell, trade, or just trade them?
If you think they can get 10s, absolutely. I would.
Danny Phantom or Jar Chomp podcast said that this market downturn could lead to MSRP of booster boxes. I don't mind him, but I find that he really does pander to his audience. Agree?
Oh, come on. You trying to get a shot here? Get us freaking saying bad stuff about Danny?
Hey, Alex, this is your specialty. Start some drama.
All right, I will, dude. Danny Phantom's great dude.
Oh,
huge positive for the hobby.
What a hot take.
I will say I do think he kind of like backs himself into a corner and kind of locks himself in a box on his rock hard stance on MSRP. You know, a box could be selling for, $300 and he has to sell it at MSRP. I think he goes a little too far with that, but that's what he believes in. So like, I'm not, hey man, it's doing a great thing for people. If he could afford to do it and his business is successful, like more power to him. But I think he's right. No, I mean, I don't think he's pandering with this at all. I am with him. I think next year at some point we will likely see MSRP on sets. I don't know what sets, but you know, the new ones. I'm not saying like, oh, all these, you know, all Scarlet Violets go to MSRP. The new sets, like there will be Mega Evolution era sets, I think, that we will likely see MSRP for eventually. Maybe I'm wrong, but hey, 12 months is a long time, 13, 14 months, whatever, till the end of 2026. I think he's right. I think he's right.
Well, I mean, I've said this as well. With MSRP, I think MSRP is such a weird thing because I feel like you're never going to see exactly MSRP. You're either going to always see below it or above it. Because MSRP is a scalper's line. Like realistically, it is the scalper's mark. Where if I'm a scalper, right, I'm gonna go buy my booster box at 166 or whatever whatever Pokemon Center selling it for, and then I'm gonna go sell it for a profit. But if boxes are at MSRP, there's no profit to be made there. And so it completely eliminates a large portion of the market, which is just buying to resell. And then because of that, prices will then correct down even further. And so that's why I feel like there's like kind of like this lack of an equilibrium when it comes to a true balance of MSRP, because you're always going to have one or the other. You're always going to have margins for scalpers or no margins for scalpers, which then means prices are going to drop below MSRP. So yeah. I think you could see it close to MSRP. Like, who knows? Like, we could see boxes go down to like 140, 150, but I don't know. I just don't see it being exactly at that. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely for ancillary products. For boxes, it might get a little closer just because boxes aren't like as scalped, I would say. Like booster boxes.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, yeah, that's fair, I guess, because you're typically getting them from Pokemon Center. You're not going into big box retailers and seeing them. But
yeah, other than GameStop, I guess.
Other than GameStop now. But I don't know. That's just how history has still shown it is the thing. Like, I can't really think of a set where we've actually had it come out exactly at MSRP. I think the last one to technically do that was Battle Styles. But like, I don't know. Is there a set you can think of that came out at and sold at MSRP? And when I say sold it, I mean for like more than a month. Like it was sitting for that long. Because realistically, like Surging Spark.
Yeah, that's what I was going to, but
it didn't last that long. It went to 200 really quick.
Yeah. So, no, there's really not, to be honest. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that's kind of where my mind is like, if I can think of that, but I just don't have.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Mason's right with like the specialty sets. Like 151 was technically. I think a lot more specialty sets sell at MSRP on an ETB.
I will agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I think that I was more referencing booster boxes. Specialty sets are a good one to kind of talk about with that.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it'll be interesting. Specialty sets are going to be crazy to look at over the next 6 months to a year. I mean, our last specialty set obviously was not super far off from MSRP, so I don't think it's that realistic depending upon what type of specialty set we get here and how much people like it. Ben 760 SD, thank you so much for the $5. Didn't have a comment if you notice it, but if you just want to donate $5, thank you so much.
Dude, you want me to like give you like a really bearish take about like,
oh my gosh, like bearish in the market take?
Dude, and I don't, hey, Nostalgianomics here. I don't do that a lot.
Dude, he's crashing his bags, ladies and gentlemen. It's confirmed.
I'm gonna crash my own bags. So like, all right. If prices get closer to MSRP, whatever, right? Like you said, there is no margin there to scalp. All right. If no margin's there to scalp, all of the notification groups are likely going to collapse because people are not going to pay the notification group fees anymore to be a part of their Discords or notification, groups. So all of that money is going to go away for all the people who own those, and they're no longer going to be buying mass amounts, right? And all the people in there are no longer going to be making money on their flips. So they're not going to have extra money to buy more or invest. So that's going to take out a large portion of the buyer pool right now. Now it's going to open up a lot of opportunity for people who are here long-term. And again, it doesn't bother me long-term, but there's definitely a world where things really correct hard, but then like recover hard because of all the people taking advantage of all of it. But it's definitely, I mean, yeah, all the bots, like the bots, all those people, they're all going to basically become non-existent because there's nothing they can do to actually do anything with it. And so it's just like, if that does happen and there's no margin made for any of that anymore, all of that stuff will kind of collapse.
Man, that's just crazy to think about.
But it's a real scenario that we could be facing eventually.
How many physical cases of booster boxes do you own?
I mean, off the top of my head, I'd have to think about it, man. Like a couple hundred at least.
A couple hundred cases of booster boxes?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I don't want to out you on where you're storing it, but like, do you have like storage locations that you use?
Yeah, storage unit, house, you know, insurance policies.
Well, I just wonder that because this is just kind of where my mind went. I was thinking about it. I was like, man, when
we were just talking about that today because this week, since I'm going to Collecticon, me and my employee have to now move like all of our inventory that I keep for streams and any little bit I keep here. I have to move it all to the storage facility for the weekend. And then when I get back, we have to spend the Monday I'm back going to the unit, pulling everything back here. It's a mess every time I leave. Yeah, like, I'm not, you know, it's like I have left here before and I've had like someone stay at the house. So it's usually between having someone stay here or, you know, moving it all to the facility. And so it's always a mess when I leave. But yeah, I mean, I'm always very aware of that.
Well, I just think about it, man. And I'm like, dude, I was just thinking to myself, like, if let's say prices correct again, right? And you start to see things available on distribution, my mind immediately goes to like, I'm buying at least 20 to 30 cases every new set, right? But also at the same time, I'm like, where am I going to store that? Like, I do not have the room for that in my like brick and mortar. So I was just curious what you do.
I held off for the longest time, but the way you have to think about it is, you know, if you can get like a climate controlled storage facility, right? Storage unit for, let's say $100 a month, right? And you have at least $100,000 worth, right? You're talking about like 0.1% a month is what it's costing you to like manage that portfolio. So it's like, it's such a small percentage. Now, like if people have not that much, I would say, don't worry about it. Once you get into the six figures, I think you can definitely kind of make it make sense because, you know, it's just such a small percentage and the gains you're making is far outweighing the small percentage it's costing you to keep it there. Same thing with insurance policies. Like I don't really recommend insurance policies till you start getting like the six figures. But once you start getting the six figures, it comes out to usually, I mean, depending on what insurance company you go with, what you're looking for, it comes out to like a couple percentage points, if not a percentage point to cover like everything you have. And when you're talking about a percentage point a year to like have peace of mind, it can make a lot more sense as well. So it just depends on which route you want to go or how large your position is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely something worth looking into for myself. That's for sure. Republic Bricks again. Trump took away my EBT, so I can't scalp collection boxes at Walmart anymore.
Stop, dude. Dude, Tim. Oh man.
That's crazy. Okay, sorry, I don't want to derail the conversation here, but EBT is used at Walmart for anything?
I don't think so, dude. I think he's just trolling
can you actually scout with EBT cards? That'd be diabolical.
That would be.
You know what I did? You know what I did here, and I didn't even know this was a thing. There was a lady, I can't remember the exact news report. There was a lady who is being charged with, I can't remember what the exact crime was, but she used $30,000 worth of her EBT cards to fund her bakery.
Nice.
And basically was getting all of her food paid for by the government. And I didn't know this, but there are Facebook groups in Phoenix, where I live, that are specifically people that have businesses that they operate and run just off of EBT. And so they'll do it under the table. So like they'll have their like food businesses that they'll post on like Facebook Marketplace, and they'll straight up just have all their food paid for. So it's just 100% margin. And I didn't even know about that because I didn't think about it, because from back home in Oregon, like if you go onto Facebook Marketplace, like you never see food. But when I moved here, that was one of the things I noticed, and I never thought of it until I saw that there was Facebook groups of over 30,000 people here in the local area of individuals straight up doing this. And I was like, oh my God, dude, that's crazy. That's something I've never thought of before. So there's so much money that people are making off of like literal free real estate that they're getting from the government that are now being affected by it. Like that's levels. I mean, don't tell the government that you're doing that, but geez Louise, dude, that's insane.
Hey man, they figured it out.
They figured it out.
It goes back to when Trump was like debating Hillary Clinton in that presidential debate.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I don't pay my taxes because that's the law. If you want to change the law, change it. If not, I'm going to use the law in my favor. It's the same thing. It's just like, hey, it's out there. People are taking advantage of it. If they don't want them to, change it.
Yeah.
Make it not possible. Like, I mean,
yeah.
right?
I mean, that's yeah, most people will complain about the laws, but then completely take advantage of them. Because they're like,
they found a way to do it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, but where are we on questions? When will SM Pratt reemerge on YouTube? He's one of my favorite in the hobby way back when.
Dude, you know what's crazy? It's been a while now, maybe a year ago now, maybe not quite a year. SM Pratt actually reached out to me on Instagram, and he was just like, you know, it was over some video. He's like, hey, watch your video. You're putting out good stuff or whatever. And honestly, like that meant more to me than probably any other compliment I got, just because like he's one of the people that like I watched like religiously when I got into the hobby. Originally, he was like one of the only, I would say, real like investment channels in Pokemon. It was like him, and then it was Rudy with Magic. And like those were like two of the main channels I watched back then, because there wasn't a lot around. Like there was a lot of pack openers. There was like Unlisted Leaf and Leonhardt and things like that. But they were the two like real like finance investment channels. And yeah, man, like it was cool when he reached out one time. But yeah, I mean, dude, I don't always agree with everything Scott says, but like he's super more knowledgeable than I am with like all the ins and outs of like every era of Pokemon and all the nuances of every card printed. Dude, it's definitely a loss that we don't have him on YouTube anymore. I think he just, in my personal opinion, I don't know him. But I think he just got so wealthy off the booms, and, you know, he was so ahead of everything. He had so much. And I think he enjoys his life. I mean, I know he paid off his house and probably put away $2 million. And I know he runs his Patreon still and puts out videos and live streams on there. And he probably just does well enough, you know, operating in the hobby, probably doing consult calls, running his Patreon, that maybe he just doesn't want to deal with the toxicity space that YouTube is these days. That'd be my guess.
I mean, it makes sense. Like that's where my mind went first, is like he probably made so much money off of Pokemon that because if you go back, you can find some of his older videos pre-COVID, and he was talking about a lot of the holos and how much money like people could be missing out on if they don't, like, just go buy a PSA 10 holo from Unlimited. They're only a couple $100, and a lot of those at the time, I mean, I don't know what they are now, I haven't looked, like they skyrocketed in price, right? And so a lot of his advice that he was giving, which was like older, rare, mint, or better, right? That was kind of his slogan.
It paid off enormously.
It paid off enormously for him, right?
And not only that, like he was like into Japanese stuff back then when no one else really was. Like
with the promos. That's the thing about SM Pratt that I find very interesting, is that we obviously are more of modern people, but we have to understand that the market has shifted so drastically.
Yeah.
Because before then, like SM Pratt was very much ahead of it when it came to the investments that people are more on now. And because of that, the market has drastically shifted. And he was very much someone that like was there when it happened. And then after that, it's kind of like completely changed.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you're still making money on promos for the most part. Like that's still very trendy. But I mean, with a lot of the older holos, if we're talking just straight up like early WotC era, they're not what they used to be. But that's compared to where they were when COVID boom happened. I mean, you had some cards that were over 100xing. Like it's insane.
Well,
Like go.
to what Pika Pika just said too, Alex never liked older rare mint or better. That's not true. Alex loved older rare mint or better. My majority of my investment in Pokemon was vintage until COVID. When COVID happened and after COVID kind of like everything stabilized, that's what really changed my mind about, modern sealed. Is it showed me that it had less volatility and the interest was there overall a lot more than people had thought it would be. And I shifted my focus. And that was kind of what I went with, was that, hey, this older mint or better stuff had its day, but it's modern. Modern's taking over. And it ended up being correct. I mean, if you look at the gains you would have made after COVID in like XY, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, even Scarlet Violet now, it trumps, I would say, the gains that you've made on holding since then, right? If you had vintage before the COVID boom, you still crushed, right? But like after that, I think the market shifted and a lot of people just did not want to believe that. It's why I got in so many debates when I started my YouTube channel. I got a lot of hate and stuff. It's because so many people did not want to come to grips with the fact that modern was taking the spotlight. And so it's the contrary. I believed in the older rare mint or better, but there came a time where I just felt it wasn't going to work the same way as it always had. And, some stuff still has, but a lot of it didn't.
I mean, you have to think about it from this perspective, right? When you're watching certain booster boxes in like the WotC era, like 1020X, and you saw Sun and Moon era at the time, not really doing more than like a couple hundred X's. Or sorry, a couple like two. Sorry, I said that.
100X.
A couple 100 percentage points. I'm like 2-3x, right? If you see vintage going up 10-20x, you see Sun and Moon go like 2-3x. Obviously, your belief is, okay, well, this older stuff obviously is a lot more time to mature. That's why it's worth more. But then when you saw the correction, I want to say like right near the back half of 2021, a lot of the vintage stuff is what corrected, and you saw a lot of the more modern stuff continue to climb. And all of a sudden, the kind of like gears started shifting on what was actually starting to perform. And from there, you saw such a performance increase on the more Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield era, XY era boxes. And you just saw stagnation with WotC era. And from there, it just became more clear that there is a shift in the market for what people want. And so that's just kind of like what I always view things on, which is, hey, I'm going to go with what is performing the best, because why wouldn't you? Don't stay in a camp.
Well, and the things that I preached, like back then when I started my channel, right? Like I was all about XY Sun and Moon. Now, if you ask me, hey, Alex, should I buy a $10,000, I think team ups drop now, but $10,000 team up box or a $10,000 flash fire box, or should I buy $10,000 in prismatic evolutions? I wholeheartedly think prismatic will outperform either one of those boxes. I think you will see prismatic double, triple, quadruple way before you see those boxes double, triple, quadruple at this point, right? So like price points matter, like what stage are their life cycle matters. And I think that's more what I was talking about with the older rare mint or better stuff no longer being as much of a factor, is they already went through their big giant boom. And after that happened, it was time for the newer stuff to have their runs. And that's all it is. And so there's obviously always going to be outliers. There's always going to be shifting demand back and forth. But I just think, I think markets shift, man. You got to like learn when to kind of shift with them.
Did you ever see if people commented, by the way, if we're less choppy now?
Yeah, I think they said it was better.
Okay, cool. What are your thoughts on Phantasmal Flames? Do you think it lives up to the hype, or is it just another treasured Obsidian Flame set? We already kind of went through this. Yeah, it's like a better version of Obsidian Flames, just because it doesn't have the crowns, and people like obviously the art styles of the SIRs with the megas, but it's a small set and it's still fundamentally based around the Charizard. And scarcity also is going to be a big thing. I mean, we're assuming the gold Charizard is probably going to be scarce in the same way as the Gardevoir and Lucario are, so that's going to probably be worth a ton. But yeah, do you have any more than that?
No, man, it's just so hard to tell. It's starting out at the same price it's taken Obsidian Flames 2+ years to get to.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's hard to determine things at like the new price points things are coming out at the market these days.
In your opinion, do you think most modern slabs around 2K, Magikarp, Gengar, etc. will have a ceiling? I'm 50-50 whether to sell all my slabs and put the money into DR and surge boxes. No. God, no, there's not going to be a ceiling. Could you imagine? I remember when I was talking about the alternate arts, right? Specifically like the Latios, like lovebirds, I mean, whatever they call them. But like that card, we were like, oh, when's it gonna top out? It's still going.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pulled back a bit now, but yeah, I mean, it's ran exponentially. I mean, the Gengar. What's the Gengar?
I think he's talking about the Gengar Alt Art VMAX. It's worth $2,000 right now.
I mean, here's the thing, man. Like, I think fundamentals definitely still play a part. I've always pushed back with people that like go all in on one like belief, right? Like it's all, this, it's all that. Like fundamentals still play a part in value. And when you look at the Magikarp Pop Report and you look at the fact that it has, I believe, less than a 20% 10 rate. And as we've seen, gem rates usually go down over time, meaning they get worse because more and more people get like kind of more desperate and they want to start sending cards or cracking cards and resending them because they're trying to hit that big 10. And so normally you actually see the gem rate drop. It'll probably go to 18, 17, 16, 15% over time. And because there'll be more and more 9s and less 10s. And so I think the fact that the gem rate is so low, it's so hard to grade, and the fact Paldea boxes are already 400 plus, and they're only going to probably get more. I know they're going a downturn now, but they're going out of print in April. They'll probably even go higher from there. I honestly think things like that, the Tyranitar, things like, those ones with very hard to hit 10s. Honestly, I think they're going to keep running. Things like the Prismatic Evolutions Umbreon. Look, it'll definitely probably have some ups and downs while it's in print, depending on reprints and how the pop reports look. Even that thing's like a 33% 10 rate. I don't think people are truly appreciating how hard these cards are to grade when you look at Sword and Shield. Those Sword and Shield alt arts, a lot of them have 60 and 70% 10 rates. They have like 15, 20% population reports. So you have to think the amount they're printing in Scarlet Violet, the public numbers they put out, is not exponentially more than Sword and Shield. It's more, but it's not 33% gem rate compared to 70% gem rate more. So you have to believe there could be less PSA 10s of a lot of these Scarlet Violet cards than there are of Sword and Shield cards. So you have more product printed, but less cards available. You have more, but think about this. There's more product printed, which means there's more people in the hobby. There's more demand, but there's fewer cards to go around. That's a recipe where price is rising, not prices falling.
I think another thing, this might be an interesting perspective, right? And you can tell me what you think about this, Alex. I look at this from almost like a market cap perspective. How many are in supply and what is the total valuation if you were to add them all up? And I say to myself, some of these cards, which is crazy to think about, are sub $1 million, which I know $1 million is a lot of money, but if you had like one big whale that wanted to on specific cards, they could come in and say, let me just slowly buy up the market anytime there's a listing, they could take control of the entire market and prices will become so much. What'd you say?
People are doing that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've talked about speculatively, what do we think GameStop's doing with all of that extra liquidity that they're sitting on the sidelines of? Like realistically, if you go and look at a card like the Espeon, right? And you compare it to how much there are in supply compared to how much there are of the Gengar, it's not super far off, right? The Gengar's got 1,700 more, but the market cap is more than triple because of the price difference between the Espeon and the Gengar. And so it's like, there are certain cards where you take a look at them, and obviously arts are always going to play a factor. Popular characters are always going to play a factor. And you just say to yourself, dude, if someone had an obscene amount of liquidity that we, from our perspective, look at and say, wow, this is such a large amount. But to them, it's like less than 1% of their portfolio size, less than 10%. It could easily continue to climb and run up because of the scarcity of market manipulators or people that control the market, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people don't really truly understand. Like, when people see buyouts, I know everyone always jumps to it's a market manipulation, but how many times have you seen buyouts happen and then the price just immediately corrects? Like, most of the time, if a true buyout happens that involves someone trying to take control of an actual piece of the pie, it's done slowly. It's done over time at a specific price, because the thing is you want to always be in a good entry point, and then once the scarcity officially hits, that's when you start to officially like see the increase, because they've slowly started to take the supply off of the market. And now the market has become less thereof on the actual like live sales.
I think also people they haven't come to terms with how serious of a business this is. A lot of people are still in that mindset of like, oh, it's a children's card game. There's no real businesses that are actually doing that. It's like, dude, you literally have like Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy. I mean, yeah, sure, the company does other things, but a lot of the valuation of the company now and a lot of the operation is based off their holdings in Bitcoin. It's all about continuing to accumulate Bitcoin. It's based on the price of Bitcoin. Like, you have companies now that are making speculations as part of their business model. And so it's not crazy to think that GameStop, who has named the PSA CEO, this Collectors Universe CEO, to their board, that they would not be using some of their cash that they have boatloads of to make speculations on this market, especially that's unregulated, and they don't have to deal with all the regulations of other, business moves they're going to make. It's not unheard of to think they're using some of their billions of dollars to make some small bets. Again, to you and I, we just said $1 million is a lot of money. To them, it's nothing. It's peanuts. They have billions. They're going to take a small little fraction of that and say, hey, we're going to hire some experts, go play with the market, try to make some speculations. That's not out of the question. It sounds crazy to people, like in the regular, day-to-day world. That's not crazy for a Wall Street company and some of these private equity firms to do these days. That's honestly going to be more normal. And you can either come to grips with it and kind of get on board, or you can just complain about it the whole way up. That's
a lot of companies like eBay and PSA, I think their business model outside of the grading aspect is going to shift, right? Because if you can say to yourself, okay, what would we much rather do? Would we much rather buy this card would we much rather allow someone to sell this card and we make like a 15% fee off of it? Or will we much rather offer someone an opportunity to make more off of it, right? Sell it to them for 90, 95%. So we lose less in actual like fees that we made, right? Compared to market. But then we take it off of the market and just add another one to our portfolio. And then when that price doubles in the next 6 months to a year, we just made exponentially more because we're now owning part of the market. Like,
let me throw this
very
at you.
Obvious what they're doing.
And then let me throw this at you, dude. eBay, PSA, maybe they have other other entities. They start buying up certain cards of their own, like on the market, to artificially raise the floor of the price. Oh, and by the way, PSA is going to offer you 95% of that floor price, which basically raises the price of what vendors are going to pay. So now you've artificially raised the floor of this product. Now there are going to be some legitimate sales like that people are buying at those new prices. And now you've increased the investment that you made on every single one of those cards that you owned. Even if it's $30, $40, $50 times 100, 200, 1,000 cards. Like, it's just, there's exponential amounts of money to be made in this industry when you do it right and you have someone that's business minded, someone that's not just thinking, I want to buy something that looks pretty on my shelf. And I think that people are missing that right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, if you just think some of these newer sets, right, in the Scarlet and Violet era, like some of the cards obviously have seen retracements. Some of the cards will see retracements once reprints happen for them. But like, if all a company has to do is just basically be like, hey, this card goes for $500, we can calculate that in a 10, right, it goes for $500. We can calculate that there's going to be 100 new listings that are added a month that we can try and gather at least 70% of, and then from there we can go on to the secondary market and try and find a way to get the remaining 30. That's not a lot for them every single month. Like, realistically, that's $50,000 a month that they just have to spend for a PSA 10 card just to keep accumulating.
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy to say, but like, it's very possible you could see that, especially with Destined Rivals. Like, Destined Rivals cards right now, like, they're obviously pretty expensive, like the Mewtwo, the Garchomp, the Ethan's Ho-Oh. But we know what the nostalgia is going to be for Destined Rivals in the long term. And we know that when reprints happen for Destined, the singles are going to get affected the most. You could easily see some of those cards. It sounds crazy to say now, but I don't think it really is. Go for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000+ in tens easily within the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just all depends on, some of the other factors, like how much of it gets printed, what the population reports look like, and how easy it is to grade. Like, I think if the print quality is stupid good and it's like 75% 10 rate, it could hold them back a bit. I think that's why we see like the 151 Charizard held back a bit, is it does have a huge amount of PSA 10 copies already. Whereas why you see something like the Umbreon EX from Prismatic or the Magikarp from Paldea holding up so well is they don't. Like the Umbreon has a few thousand copies in tens. That Magikarp has like 1,000 something. Like there's just not a lot out there.
Which Umbreon are you referencing?
The Prismatic.
Oh, the Prismatic one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm looking at it.
Like it's worth more than the Umbreon VMAX if you didn't know. It's about a $4,100 card. The Umbreon VMAX is, I believe, like $3,600.
Well, and I'm not saying that, how do I want to say this? I'm not saying that specifically. I mean, because it's hard to compare 1-to-1, that like the Team Rocket's Mewtwo is going to be as valuable as like the Moonbreon.
Yeah.
But just my kind of, if I were to betting man,
yeah,
my kind of bet is that there's going to be a huge nostalgia feel for the Rocket set. I mean, it was one of the biggest sets, if not the biggest set we've had in such a long time. Evolving was the last time we had a set this big. And so it only makes sense to me that it will do just as well, because Evolving Skies, the Moonbreon with that in particular, it's worth less, like you said, obviously, because of the scarcity. But even with it having a 3-to-1 on tens, it's still going for 3,500, right?
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. You're right, 100%. That scarcity will determine the acceleration factor of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily deter it from getting there. It's just going to be how fast it gets there.
True.
All right, let's take a couple more questions, then let's get out of here because we're already at an hour and a half. All right, where are we? Holy crap. Sorry, there's so many messages.
You're good, man.
Will you guys buy my case of EX Deoxys booster boxes for 69%, or is that asking too high with the reprint news?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I just gotta wait and see what the reprint does. I couldn't buy it right now. There's too much uncertainty.
I'll give you a deal. I'll buy it from you for 67%. I'm sorry. All right, we're moving on. Was Steph dropping and stagnating right now? What are the 3 best buys in the market right now?
Dude, I think Lost Origin is a really good price at 700.
I agree.
I think Paradox Rift is a really good price at 230, 235, especially with being one of the sets going out of print in April. And I mean, you could argue for Evolving Skies. You could argue for any of those Sword and Shield sets that have seen pretty decent drops. I know like Chilling Reigns in like the 480s.
What about Surging?
I was going to say you could argue for Surging, although Surging is going to be in print for a while longer. So it's a little more like, up in the air. Paradox and Lost Origin are 2 pretty certain ones. It's hard, man. I don't know what my third. Well, what's your third one?
I do think Surging. And the reason why I feel good about Surging is because I could be wrong on this, but Pokemon didn't specifically say they were going to reprint anything other than Prismatic Forward.
It's not true. I heard someone on Instagram confirm it, and then a Discord group confirm it, and then a Reddit guy confirm it. They all confirmed it. And then a YouTube channel confirm it. That's 4 confirmations. There's no like prime like origin of it, but that's 4 people.
Should we sell all of our Evolving then? I mean, we did just confirm that it's getting.
We confirmed it. Pokemon confirmed. Distro confirmed. Eli confirmed.
But yeah, I mean, with them saying that Prismatic Forward is what they're printing at this point, right? It definitely makes me believe that Surging feels less likely that it's going to get a reprint. It's still possible. Don't get me wrong. I could be completely wrong on this, but it just at least feels safer. But yeah, I don't know. You could be right. I mean, I definitely think that the other 2 feel the safest by far.
Maybe even if 151 continues to dip, like buy some 151. I don't know, like booster bundle displays are dropped a little bit. Evolving skies, you could definitely try to pick up some evolving skies in this downturn. I know there's some auctions ending in like the lower twos, which is crazy to me. So like just some of the tried and true sets that like there's very few things you like quote unquote know in this hobby. Things like evolving are always gonna be top tier. 151's always gonna be a nostalgia king. Like there's things like that. Like yeah, you may have already missed some of the run, but picking up anything after if it downturns 10, 15, 20% when you know it's a top tier set can be good pickups. So like 151 evolving, paradox, lost origin, chilling. Like there's a lot of things that are good pickups right now, I think.
Yeah. No, there really is a lot. I mean, Lost Origin is, it's still my
And we haven't been
favorite.
able to say that for a long time. I think people are like, it's like we're getting spoiled right now with the discounts we're able to buy on this downturn. And I think, it's going to be like a, snap of the fingers. Eventually it's going to be gone. People are going to be saying the same thing we did last time. Like, I can't wait for a good entry point. It's like, these are them. This is what you were waiting for. Take it.
Yeah. You're getting a 15% plus discount on sealed product. How often does that happen? Not a lot. All right. Last question here. All right. Where am I? During this market crash, why has the bad sets like Pokemon Go and Try to Fable not tanked where other products just overvalued? But there isn't a crash happening. That's the thing. A crash is
I think he's
right
being
now.
it's why he like put quotes around it.
Yeah, that's fair.
probably price point.
Oh yeah, I'd call it a correction, obviously.
Yeah, I think the price points are just so low that like, I think it's all price point. I think the price points were just low enough that they didn't get affected and they also didn't go through run up. So like the things that are being affected the most by the correction is the things that have ran up the most, right? Like, Lost Origin in a year's time, I could pull the chart. What was lost? Wasn't Lost Origin still like a $200 box a year ago, if I'm not mistaken? So I don't think that gets mentioned enough of like where these things came from. So like Lost Origin, 235 back November of last year. So it ran from 235 to 900 in less than a year's time. And so it's seeing a correction from its highs. But when you look at something like Shrouded Fable, I guess Shrouded Fable's had a bit of a run, but I just think it hasn't reached high enough price point to really get people like wanting to either take profits or sell it. So Shrouded Fable, I guess Shrouded Fable did double or maybe a little more than double. It was in the 30s. Now it's in the 70s. So a little more than double, but like Lost Origin's up like 4x. So I think the things that had the much more drastic, moves are seeing a little bit of a correction. Whereas the things that didn't see the drastic moves like Shrouded Fable, Pokemon Go, they're not seeing as big of corrections.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Just to think, when I got into Lost Origin, I was not expecting it to run up as quickly as it did.
Well, and that's why like everyone's going to experience a different, I don't know, like a different side of this like hobby, because anyone who's been in for a year or more, if you're complaining about a 20% downturn, like dude, just don't talk about investing anymore. Now, if someone just got in the hobby like 2 months ago and they bought Lost Origin and now they're experiencing a 20% downturn, now they're like down that much, it's going to hurt a lot more. Whereas like people like me and Eli, anyone's been here for years, own this stuff, right? They're like, dude, I had a $200 box a year ago. Now it's still worth 700. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah,
and it's not as big of a deal, but I think it's more the people who are brand new panicking more because they just got in, now they're losing, and they're like, it's all a scam. Everyone lied to me. I know you lied to me, and so the time frames in which you got in play a big part.
Just gotta be patient, man, as always.
Exactly.
All right, I think we'll call it at that. You feeling good?
Yeah. Last thing I will say is, guys, I owned Lost Origin when it was like 170, 180 a box before it tanked down to 110, 120 after the reprint, right? Like I experienced a loss like that too, but I did exactly what I tell everyone to do. I practiced what I preach. I bought more. I lowered my dollar cost average, right? I increased my position size. Then when it all came back, I made exponentially more money. Like that's what you do. And so it's like, if I would have bought a box of Lost Origin at 900, now it's 700, I'd consider buying like 2. Right. And now I have 3 boxes with an average down in the 700s. Now when it recovers to 800, I'm already up on my money on all of them. Like that's kind of how this whole thing works on like an elementary level. That's the whole dollar cost average theory.
That's how it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys all so much for stopping by. As always, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, helps the channel. Check out Alex's content. Link is down in the description below to see that. But yeah, make sure to sell all your evolving and team up, guys. Now's your last chance. It's getting reprinted, so this is it, man. Anything else, Alex? Are we chilling?
No, man, jump ship.
All right, guys. We'll see you all next Monday. Peace.